Yeah. Season 3 has come to a close. This is the last episode of season 3 of the Hot Girls Healing Podcast. Ew. That's my heart beating out of my chest. At 3 seasons of the Hot Girls Healing Podcast. Ew, ew, ew. If you have just made it here today, this is your first episode of the Hot Girls Healing Podcast. Welcome. I'm Salenna. I'm the host of the Hot Girls Healing Podcast. This episode is the last episode of season 3, as I said. However, I also want to talk about, while I still have you, just this reconnecting with my inner teenager that I feel like I've been doing lately. It's a part of this whole inner child healing journey I've been on. But I also want to talk about, just the last season, what's been going on in my life, what you can expect for next season. We're going to talk about all that together in this one episode with just me. Because as y'all know, I like to do a couple of episodes every season that's just me and you. Locked in. I play too much. Okay, but FR. And then also this episode was originally not even going to be about my inner teenager, but I just got off the phone FaceTiming with my bestie from childhood. Shout out to you, Bree. And I was like, damn, I actually think that I'm really starting to tap into my teenage energy, like the inner teenager, right? Like she's angsty, she knows what she wants, but no one was really trying to hear me back then. So I was also kind of mad. Like, we'll get into all of that. But first, let's talk about this last season of the Hot Girls Healing Podcast. Another amazing season. Genuinely 3 times the charm, because this season I really feel like I started to hit my stride as a podcaster. I was not a podcaster when I first started this podcast. I was a speaker, I was an organizer, I was an artist, but I was not a podcaster, and I feel like I'm figuring that out for myself this season. So shout out to my willingness to do something that was not already in my wheelhouse necessarily. And shout out to that process. Just showing up, doing you, building the wagon while you're riding it type vibe. I also feel like during this time, my confidence as a podcaster was built. And I think that is what helped me to figure out who I was as a podcaster. Like, what does this platform mean to me? What kind of stories am I trying to tell? And then the organic evolution that comes with that happened during this season. Like, mark my words. Mark them. I talked to some amazing people this season, and I'm really excited about the conversations that also didn't happen this season. There's conversations that I've been trying to have since season 1 that I did get to have this season in season 3. But there's also still conversations that I have not been able to have that I'm still looking forward to having next season. It's just either the friends that I wanted to have the conversations with, schedules haven't lined up yet, or there's the conversation that I want to have that I just have not found the person yet who also wants to have this conversation. And it's not something that I necessarily want to speak to just with my own voice being the only one there. So, like the episodes that I do that are just with me, there are some things, I'm just down, locked in with y'all, letting you know what's on my mind about this. But there's other things where I'm like, this needs to be a conversation. I want to have other voices than my own chiming in on this for the audience. And I ain't had that yet. So there are more conversations to be had. There's more things that I'm looking forward to for season 4, but definitely excited about the ones that I've had for season 3. Um, let me like, I'm not good with names, y'all, even if I'm the one who named it. So I want to shout out like some specific episodes that I had a really good time filming. One in particular that I see now that I'm like looking at my list of names was The Power of the Mind, with that, which was a conversation that I had. And it was just really good. Like Princess P, like we had a great time having the conversation. She is hilarious. She has a really good insight about this whole media thing. Like, yes, we have media. Yes, conversations are being had, but the intentionality behind the conversations that she wants to have, the mindfulness that she moves with, I really like that conversation. And we were talking about the power of the mind, which is huge. Like, your mental state means everything for your quality of life, means everything for what you're able to achieve. So I really liked that conversation. I really also love the conversation that I had this season about hair love, which is one that I had with Janae, who is an owner of a hair care brand. And we just talked about like this love for our hair, for Black hair. Not a revolutionary thing for me personally, because it's very easy to love my hair. Like, it's black, it's coily, which is just like this curly goodness. Like, I love having curly hair. I love my little coils. They're so gorgeous. Um, and just the relationship that I have with my hair has been one that I feel like has always been healthy. Like, there's never been a time where I really felt like I hated my hair. The closest that I could say to it was times where I felt like I didn't know how to manage my hair, because instead of just being like, yeah, this is how you do your hair, this is how I do your hair, it seemed like there was always just like a conversation around how hard it is to manage Black hair, even the whole time it was being managed. So, like, I don't know, makes sense. But I loved having that conversation because I actually got to think about, while I thought I had this really healthy relationship with my hair, it wasn't an intentional one until much later in my life. So another conversation that I was like really happy to have in season 3. And then the last one that I want to talk about is the conversation around alignment. Like, oh my gosh, alignment. And I believe that one was with Kimberlyn. And we talked about alignment in our lives. And just, man, reflection is so important, because when I was reflecting on the alignment in my life, I really started to realize that alignment wasn't something that I just started experiencing recently. I've always been experiencing this divine alignment in my life. Is just the ability to recognize something makes it so much more magical. And so alignment is something that I call into my life now. I move in divine alignment, willfully, with intention, because of that reflection. And just honoring the places where alignment was already happening. So huge. So beyond season 2, 3, into season 4, I'm excited to continue having heartfelt conversations. A little heartbeat for y'all who are watching. If you're listening, I play too much, and I'm always doing a little heartbeat dance where you like draw your hand out and your chest follows. Anyway, I will continue to have heartfelt conversations. We'll continue to have a revolutionary conversations, healing conversations. And I'm going to try to continue to have a launch and wrap party every season now, because season 3 was my first season where I had my launch party for the podcast at Bellevue Art Museum. And then now we're about to have the wrap party in November over at Made Space in Seattle. So I love this, like, creating more opportunities for celebration in my life instead of just waiting for celebration to happen. I'm building every opportunity for myself. I just don't wait for things to come for me anymore. And I'm finding that through creating opportunities, creating joy, following it, then those things do, like, I'm not chasing joy, I'm not chasing opportunity, I'm building it in my life. And it's also just coming organically because that's the move. And it's all energy. So, just tap in. I'm looking at my little notes I have on my phone. So reflections, projections, manifestations, bigger and better. Everything is going for the next level. And this is where I feel like my reconnecting with my inner teenager is coming back in, because when I tell y'all everything that I'm doing right now that feels big and like kind of scary, and it's what I want, you know what I mean? All of that, my teenager, when I was a teenager, y'all, like, I was like, I feel like a more obnoxious version of myself who just knew, like, the version of me that I am now is like, okay, let me be, realistic. Let me try to weigh the checks and balances of what I want and build from where I am now, the small steps that are going to get me to that bigger long-term dream. As a teenager, I was like, yeah, I'm doing it. Whatever it is. I don't even need to think about the smaller steps. All I actually need to do is know that it's happening. So this is what's happening. Da, 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 I'm getting what I want. Like, that was me as a teenager. Like, I already knew it was happening. And I kind of feel some more of that energy creeping back in, because I don't know if it was just, having lost my mojo for a few years, some of the traumas that I experienced in my adult years, but like, a bitch was kind of beat down for a few years, and I felt like I was just fighting for my life, like, really just trying to get back on solid ground, try to regain some sense of normalcy in my life, and just understanding like what the actual fuck was happening. But now that I have done those things, I feel this sense of like, I'm that bitch. I'm that bitch. Like, I'm that bitch. I'm that bitch. Like, type energy coming back. And it really feels like my teenage energy, which is funny. So, like, watch out for that, I guess. There's no telling what is coming from me next. I feel very open to receiving blessings. I feel open to opportunity. It feels like I have like my whole life ahead of me. Like, that's the kind of teenage energy, whimsy, wonderment I'm starting to feel again. And I'm very much not a teenager. So I like that. I'm sure that with more of this reconnecting with my inner teenager, there's going to come more healing too, because yikes, about some of the things that happened when I was a teenager. So with this teenage bravado, I'm sure there's gonna come up some more things that I'm gonna be healing from, more reflections that I'll be doing, more things that I'll be releasing, things that don't serve me. And honestly, at the point that I'm at in my healing journey, I'm kind of excited for that too. Like, I don't know, y'all. Like, I don't know. I'm really in this place in my life where I'm just blessing it all. Whatever I'm doing, bless it. Whatever is occurring in my life, I know I'm on my divine path. So I'm going to trust myself to move through it with grace and with as much fun and celebration as I can, because that's what I want in my life. I want peace, I want rest, I want exploration, I want loyalty, I want security. And not only do I have to call those things to me, but I have to move like they're here. So I don't want to call these things to me, these amazing things, these art projects that I want to be a part of, these healing movements, these revolutions of returning what has been lost and what has been stolen to the people that it belongs to. I know that those things are possible. I know that those things can happen. And so I'm going to move like they can happen, even in the face of the present, which shows me that the opposite is also true, that genocides and famine and theft and oppression and colonialism are all possible. Like, I know that too. But I also know that what I want is possible, and what I want, I am worthy of. And I am and can be and will be a part of bringing about what I want. And I can claim that with the simplicity that I would have as a teenager, without all the added but that, you get as an adult that we call realistic. I'm claiming that the peace that we want is possible. The, return of land that we want is possible. The return of stolen resources that we want is possible. And we can all be a part of making that happen. So, boom. Protecting vulnerable community. I want to move in ways that promote that. And so whether it's speaking about it on my podcast, holding events, holding space and community, expect to see more of that. And if you are someone who wants to see that in the world too, join those movements. There's power in numbers. Holding each other down. I want to say that there's been a lot of new people who are realizing that we can't necessarily count on structures, large structures or systems to save the people. Welcome to Black reality. Let me not. No, that is true. We can't necessarily count on these things. People who did not know that before are starting to realize that. You know what we can count on though? Each other. That's all we've ever really been able to count on. So, lock in with your community, hold them down, pay the price of community, which is showing up. So show up for the people who show up for you. Start to notice who is showing up for you. Right? That is something that I don't think I was as good at as a teenager. And that's a part of myself that I'm reconnecting with so much compassion. I'm starting to see where some of the patterns that I carried into adulthood, where they started. And some of them did start in teenage years. They started like these patterns of people pleasing that I had to break as an adult. That started back in my teenage years. Like when I was learning that making adults in my life happy meant safety. That is where those, patterns then came, and different, the patterns of behavior. Thank you. Me to me. Because the thought popped in my head. That's where those patterns of behavior come from. Okay. It comes from these understandings that I had, and then behaviors that I started to put in place in my teenage years. And I realized that, and I'm looking at it with compassion, because the version of myself that I was then, who was depending on people pleasing for safety, didn't have those times have passed. I don't have to do that anymore. And so I view that version of me with compassion, and it allows me to accept that version of me and release any shame that I had from maybe things that I was like, yeah, that's cool, that aren't cool. Like, it's okay. You did what you had to do at that time, baby girl, but you are not there anymore. And we're going to put that down, and we're going to move on, and we're going to bring these healed practices back to community. And I'm going to engage in that way going forward, in a way that is not motivated by shame, in a way that is not motivated by people pleasing, in a way that really is just motivated by what's right. That's it. And for a long time, I also want to acknowledge the version of myself that I was moving as was a version of me that was stuck in survival mode. That version of me in survival mode wasn't really able to think of any smaller steps to reaching the big goals that I had. I only had the capacity to say, I know what I want. It ain't this. It looks a lot more like that. I don't know how I could get there because as a teenager, I didn't even know of half of the resources that I know of now. You know, I had a lot of ambition. And as I was growing up, when I was going through my 20s, experiencing all the things that I experienced that led me to be a damn near shell-shocked 29-year-old. And then spending the subsequent years, you know, really on an intentional self-love journey that led me to where I am today. I was putting down a lot of the things that I had internalized in my teenage years. I had to strip down to the basics to get to where I am now. And leaving behind survival mode took a lot of time. I think that there are still situations now, triggers, things that could even still take me back to the version of me that I was in survival mode, make me make a decision, speak, a line or that came from back then, from that version of myself. That's probably still possible, but as I'm growing and as I'm forgiving and accepting different versions of myself, I know that if I do step back into that survival mode version of myself, I don't have to stay there forever. I spend less and less time in survival mode anytime that I visited since, I left that mode overall. Because there was a time I was probably mostly in survival mode. Like that was definitely like the major mode. It was like switch into survival. And then like every once in a while I'd get a glimpse of just like thriving or resting or any other mode that you could possibly be in. And now I spend most of my time in peace or manifestation mode or community mode, abundance mode. And then every once in a while, yeah, maybe if I encounter a certain thing, I might slip back into that. So I say all of that to say I'm healing my inner teenager. I'm reconnecting with my inner teenager. And I don't necessarily know what that chapter is going to look like because I think it's just starting. I'm also, I think, entering a season of transition, which I feel like being a teenager is kind of also a season of transition. Like you're leaving being an adolescent, you're entering into being an adult, but you're not quite there yet. I feel like that is kind of also where my life is starting to be in this bigger transitionary period as well. So I'm trying to embrace all of this. I'm going to tell y'all right now, I have been getting anxiety from good things lately, which is fucking crazy because I used to only get anxiety from some whatever unfortunate or unexpected thing it was that was happening in my life. But I'm starting to realize that the feeling of anxiety in the body and the feeling of genuine excitement in the body are very close. I did not know this because I only was feeling anxiety for a long time. But now it's like there will be these exciting things that are happening, good news that comes, and I know a big change is coming. And it's like, because change was always categorized a certain way in my body, it's hard for my body to realize that like good change and bad change. Like we don't have to respond to good change the same way that we responded to bad change. But it's also like a thin line between how those feel in the body. So I'm really starting to like get into this whole like unlearning and relearning that is particularly around teaching my body that it's okay to feel this feeling, because this feeling is attached to a good thing this time. It's not attached to what it was attached to in the past. It's a whole thing. I'm telling you. Healing can get real detailed, real nuanced when you get to certain situations. Like, it's exciting, it's never ending, it's kind of progressive, because again, healing isn't the point of my life at this point. Joy, following my peace, um, those are the point of it. But the healing that comes with it is wild. Like the ways in which you encounter healing when you're just following joy, creating art, meeting with friends, and then boom, here comes some healing. Like, what? I didn't expect none of that. But here we are on this beautiful healing journey. And I'm finding every day that it's unexpected. And every time I think I'm done healing, like I'm past that part, like actually you just hadn't encountered the next milestone. That's all it was. Like, I love it though. I used to think that healing was like this whole tragic thing. Like, I used to always feel so emotional, like when I had to face something, when I had to like come up against that other memory, that resurfaced, and damn, I forgot that even happened. Like, I used to think that healing was just that, but it's actually not. It's when you're looking forward to going to the pumpkin patch and you realize that you went consistently, like you had enough consistency in your life that you've been to the pumpkin patch for the last like 4 or 5 years in a row. That's the kind of shit that healing can be. Because just saying that, I'm having to fight back tears because I'm not trying to mess up my makeup that I have on. Because you know what I mean? But it's like, that's what healing can look like. Realizing that you have had stability in your life that was unprecedented. Realizing that you have people around you now who uplift you, who don't put you down, who you can be as silly and as happy as you want to be, and they're not going to try to stop it or dim it or contain it. Like, these are the ways that healing can be surprising and warm and just more than you ever imagined it could be. I'm finding that my life can be more than I ever imagined it to be, in very small ways and in very large ways. And it just makes me so excited to continue the journey, to continue healing. Like, I didn't even know that healing an inner teenager could be a thing, because I was like, I got so much shit going around on from when I was like 5 and 6. I don't know if I'm ever gonna make it to a teenager, but I did. Here I am at 32, and I am healing. Me and my inner teenager is getting linked up, and we are healing, and I'm really excited to see what it looks like. This entire healing journey has just been so much more than what I thought it was going to be. I cannot express enough to whoever is listening to this podcast to please, please do the thing. Please do the thing that you have been hearing to do, from whatever the source is. Maybe it's been that friend who always encourages you, or that person that you can actually trust. Because make sure whatever you're listening to is a good source that isn't like a source of pain and like, you know what I mean? Right? Okay. The word isn't coming for like to me right now, but you know what I mean. Like, don't listen to that source, but listen to the people who are uplifting you. Listen to the voice of your highest self that you can trust, and really do whatever it is that thing is. Because ever since I have started listening to the people who actually encourage me instead of the people who had just like been around the longest. I started taking much better advice. And we are social beings as humans. So I don't need to sit here and pretend that the only person that I need to listen to is me. Like, I definitely need to listen to me. I always need to be in touch with myself and my highest self and what I know is meant for me. But find you a community. Find you people that you can trust, who can trust you. Find that community and get in there. We got to hold each other down. We're the only ones who can. We all need us. You need you. Other people need you. We need other people. It's all interconnected. All right, I'm going to stop yapping at you. But this has been a wonderful season 3 of the Hot Girls Healing Podcast. More has already come from this podcast than I really ever expected. I'm so excited for y'all to see and hear what I have coming next. Definitely know that I'm going to be doing some amazing things with this life that I'm living. And I hope that you are too. I believe in you. I'm rooting for you. We healing in community. Like, it's Hot Girls Healing. Be you. Do you. I'm Salenna Green. This has been another episode, the last of season 3 of the Hot Girls Healing Podcast, and I will see you next season. If you're in the Seattle area, I hope I see you at the wrap party for season 3 of the Hot Girls Healing Podcast, November 11th. Where did I get November 11th from, y'all? November 6th at Made Space in Seattle. I will be there. There will be an amazing hot girl panel featuring Marissa Green, Consolata, Stephanie Morales, and Fancy Vargas. And I'm very excited to speak with these ladies to let you all know more about them, more about their stories. We're going to be talking about really just how do you make change? How do you pivot? How do you start that thing that you've been really wanting to do, or change it up if that's what you need to do? So I hope you join us. There'll be free food and drinks. We will be vibing, networking, and community with other fellow podcasters, creatives, business owners, and entrepreneurs. So I'll see you there. Bye.
Since I know you're tired, since I know you're stressed, you were always favored and you were always blessed. It's all about that. Hot Girls Healing. We doing it our way. Hot Girls Healing. We better day by day. Hot Girls Healing. We doing it our way. Hot Girls Healing. And it goes